Hello and welcome to the Comic Conspiracy, episode number 114 for the week of July 1st, 2013. I'm Ryan Higgins.
Did you write any checks today?
Nah, Monday's not a check writing day.
Just double check, you know.
Yeah. Who else is here with
Brock
me?
Sager.
Who else is here with me?
Toby.
Hello, Toby.
And Charlie.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
No Omar this week. I think Bryce is coming back next week. I think there's some pre-4th of July crap. So hopefully those guys will all be back next week. We'll have a nice, I don't know, whatever. Charlie, when are you leaving? You're going to San Diego.
On the 12th or 13th.
Toby, when are you leaving?
That Wednesday of.
So you guys are both leaving?
Morning?
You guys are both leaving. We'll have a pre-podcast then.
There should be one before.
Podcast.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be leaving on like a Friday or Saturday.
Oh,
Charlie
before.
be gone the one before.
Okay.
That means
okay.
that might be this Friday, right?
No.
No.
No,
Friday.
it's next week.
Are you guys going to be alive and conscious on the following Monday?
No.
Are you going to be on the podcast?
Maybe.
Cool. All right. Oh, worst case, we'll do it the week after, but let's see if you guys can get here on Monday. Get some sleep when you get in.
Well, it depends on what I'm doing since maybe.
Yeah. No promises. Well, with Comic-Con coming up soon, as you can probably assume, the news in the last few weeks is pretty light, but we got some random crap to talk about today. And unfortunately, Toby is here. Now, I forgot. No, not unfortunately Toby is here. Unfortunately, Toby is here when Bryce and Omar are not. Last week, I forgot that you wanted to have a little rebuttal about their Man of Steel opinions.
Only reason why I was on last week. Only reason. I was very frustrated.
You just gotta let me know you want to talk, and we'll let you talk.
I was only talking to you about it all week online. I'm gonna fucking talk about this. I'm gonna talk about this.
Ryan has the memory of a gnat.
Yeah,
I know. And I was trying to sneak it in, and I was like, not working now. Okay, I guess not doing now. And then I was like, I'll do it after the All-Star thing. We went 2 hours over. Great.
Yeah, it was like a 2-hour-long podcast. So, well, they're not here, but empty chairs with their souls are here, and Brock's here, so you can yell him too. Now, when we came out of the theater of Man of Steel, we kind of split into two groups,
yes.
Unknowing that there was the other group was waiting for us. So
Charlie is the lost survivor that started one group and then somehow managed to be with the other group.
Yeah.
And didn't tell anybody about it and then went home.
Yeah, it's like you ended up with the tailies with all the bad guys. So somehow we ended up we were inside waiting for you guys, and you guys were outside, Charlie, waiting for us. And we all kind of split into these groups to talk about the movie. Now, when we were talking about it, Toby, yes. I thought you actually didn't really like the movie.
Well, I changed my mind after listening to Brock, Omar, and Bryce.
Okay.
I was quite annoyed with their opinions.
As we all are.
While some are respected, but majority of them were not respected in my mind. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. No. I'm still a little in between on the movie when I watched it the first time. But the second time, I liked it a lot more. So,
did you see it in 2D the second time?
Oh, yeah. I couldn't really stand it in 3D. But before we start, I have something to start here. I have to take my glasses off. And it's really too bad that Bryce and Omar are not here because I really took it all serious today to do this Superman battle
he's unbuttoning his shirt.
Yeah. So
Toby's got his Man of Steel shirt on. Toby just took off the Clark Kent costume, and Man of Steel is underneath.
So I'm ready, but they're not here, so I feel like...
Oh, they'll listen.
He's more like a Connor.
Yeah, you got the black shirt.
I have to put my Toby spin on. It's like a Toby Superman fusion. But anyways, I liked it a lot better.
Sounds like a really bad porno.
I hope not. It depends who you cast.
This is true.
But anyways, that's not what we're talking about. I really liked it. The second time around, a lot more. The first time around, it took me a little by surprise, and I think that's what it did to most people. They didn't get to see the Superman they wanted to see, like Brock. And I think a lot of people, it just took them by surprise, and they didn't know what to make out of it at first, including me. I thought it was a little disjointed at first. I liked the origin story. I liked that we get to see more of the planet because we didn't really see that before. I like the fact that we're jumping around in this origin story just because it puts a new, fresh spin on it. And to argue with you, Brock, and I'm not picking on you, this is my point, and you had your point.
You're just the only one here that's got a target on his face.
Oh, no. I have specific points that, against what Bryce said and what Omar said and what you said. You didn't like the whole beginning when he was a kid thing, and I'll argue with you this. First of all is... they may not be done yet. So I quite could see them in the second movie going back and forth again, which I wouldn't mind. They might not, but I could see that. They could go dwell more into the when he's a kid and when he's a teenager storyline.
I didn't even think about that, but that's a really good idea.
Yeah. So that's one thing. So I think they're not done yet. You might get to see what you want to see, Brock. So who knows? Anyway, I don't think they're quite done yet there, but they could. So who knows? And I also think... if there was no Smallville and if there was no Superman Returns, we would have had a completely different Man of Steel. Probably more in the vein of what you were thinking of. This is my thoughts. We just saw a Superman Returns with the kind of origin story. People were fresh in their mind, kind of like what happened to Amazing Spider-Man. Too fresh in their minds. They had a whole TV show called Smallville that they were explaining everything to way more than they should have probably.
What you hit my point with is that I didn't want to see the same thing I've seen again and again. And again.
It's not even you. It's the majority of maybe non-comic fans. Like, people in my office are like, man, Superman's so boring because he's going to land on planet, he's going to do this crazy stuff, and then he's going to find a villain, and that's the end of the movie. That's not what nobody wants to see anymore. And there's quite a few people in my office who are like, yeah, Superman's stupid. Look at this thing. It's going to be stupid. Oh, and then came back after the movie came out. You know what? That was actually pretty darn good. It's because... It's done in a way where it's fresh to them and not repetitive, right? So, we all know Superman comes from there. It's all stuff we already know, so why show it again? And they didn't. So I really agreed with the scattered origin, with the going back and forth. And watching the second time around, the scenes, the way they went back and forth really made sense. The other thing I really liked is the current timeline is very blue in shades. Some of the kid stuff is in very orangey yellow look, so it's kind of the Superman color. So I thought that was kind of a nice touch. I did not like Pete Ross being a little fat kid. I'm sorry. I like the character. I did not like that he was called Pete Ross. And Omar, I'm sorry, he's not black because in the comic book he was always white. So, but he was athletic. He is an athletic guy. So I kind of. So for me, I don't mind when they change races and stuff like that, or ethnicity,
gender.
Maybe on the gender, and I'll touch upon that in a second here. As long as they stay true to the character, like the Kingpin being black, no problem. Perry White being black, no freaking problem. Pete Ross going from an athletic guy to a chubby kid, while story-wise made a whole lot more sense. Don't call him Pete Ross in my mind. That's just me. I mean, I don't like it when they change to the point where it's not the same guy anymore. Then don't call it the same guy. To me, that's just me. I would have liked to see more of Alana. That's where I agree with Brock. I would have liked to see more, but that's people that romanticize Superman already, and we like the origin story. But to be honest, that's not what everybody else wants to see. If we saw the movie like Brock wanted, I'm sorry, I think it would have failed pretty badly in the theaters because a lot of people would have gotten turned off by it. Just my opinion.
And we should say that Superman this past weekend, because it opened in, I think, Japan and somewhere else, it just passed $500 million. Worldwide.
Very nice.
So
it's doing something right? So.
Add in with the that $175 million it made before the movie even opened with the sponsorships and all that. I mean, it's made close to $700 million, which, short of Dark Knight, I mean, this is what Warner Brothers was looking for. This is, I think, this I think is a success for them. It has to be.
No,
I hope even after opening weekend, they pretty much announced it was a success for them.
Yeah. And going back to all the flashbacks, I love the kid scenes. I love the stuff with the mom, the one where he's hiding in the closet, stuff like that. Beautifully done. I mean, amazingly done. The conversation with his dad, while some disagree on it, I kind of like him a lot. The one where he's like, oh, maybe you should have let him die. He is not saying you should let him die. He's doubting himself teaching this kid he doesn't know how to teach, but doing the best he can. So I love that scene. As a teenager, I love the stuff, the hurricane scene. bloody fantastic. I mean, it was just like really, really well done. I loved all that stuff. I like the fact that some of the Smallville guys, in fact, know who he is or have a clue that he is, but they're keeping it shut just because they know he was there for the better. I kind of like that too,
which is pretty comic accurate as well.
Yeah, and I like that. I love the fact that Lois Lane was not stupid for once. I mean, I'm sorry, I disagree with Brock and not Brock. You didn't care about Lois Lane. It was Omar and Bryce that were making fun of it. Yeah, she had to be rescued, twice, I think, in the movie, and I actually looked at for it, and I did fact-checking again in the second movie, second time too. But the fact that she is the one that's curious about it, and then she goes and figures out who he is, and, follows the kind of like the urban tales and stuff, and slowly gets to the truth. Beautifully done.
It's a great new take on that.
And I think it's fantastic. And the other thing on it is, in the past, there was always the Lois Lane Superman thing, and they love each other and stuff. But why? It never really happened. I mean, sure, he's a reporter, and then they fall in love and stuff like that. Yeah, but this is the first time where you kind of understand how the dynamic work by her writing the storyline by meeting him and then not wanting to release the story. I mean, that was just like, then building the trust with Clark Kent. I thought that was brilliantly done.
Well, I kind of think this is...
Didn't I see that? Oh, yeah, I saw that in Message in a Bottle.
I don't watch girly movies. Sorry, Brock.
What's interesting in this version of Superman and Lois is that in the previous, she loved Superman because he was this great, powerful being or whatever, and she didn't care about Clark Kent. In this version... Clark Kent and Superman really... I mean, I'm not talking specifically...
Well, I was just going to say, in a weird way, the previous version always seemed to be like she found somebody to believe in, per se, because she was sort of jaded with Lex Luthor and everything else. Like, she was always sort of the cynic in a lot of this stuff, and yet somehow, some way, she kind of put her faith in Superman and what he stood for, and...
Right, sure, but I mean, I think that the especially when you're talking Golden Age, Silver Age, and then it's different in the modern day, I would think. But her love for Superman was a little more just I'm the helpless damsel, and I've fallen for you because you saved me, and her interest in Clark Kent was non-existent. In this, Clark Kent and Superman are the same person. There is no... It's coming at it from a completely different direction.
Yes.
So she loves Clark Kent, and he is then Superman. Like he is the same person. And I think that's a great way of twisting that around to make it a little more modern and a little more believable, and gets away from that dumb Lois.
Yes.
You're the best reporter, but you can't see what's right in front of your face, and kind of work around that, and makes her interest in Clark Kent. Oh, I love you, Clark Kent, now that I know you're Superman. Like, that always felt creepy. Like,
well, the other thing I would say about Lois that always kind of rubbed me the wrong way a little bit in the previous version is once he got to know her as Clark, he pretty much started handing her stories as Superman, which doesn't really play up her being a great reporter. It's more like she lucked into somebody who wanted. So,
well, this is going to be great going forward. Better. I mean, going forward, this could be really awesome. This could be even her pushing him to go do things. Like, we got to go here to do this because they need you there.
Well, instead of her just being sort of like, oh, help, I'm being captured by Metallo, now it's, hey, I'm going to go with you.
Yes.
And do a thing.
Yeah. And
get captured by Metallo.
Not necessarily.
No, I mean, they show her courage all over the movie. Like, when they go pick her out of the crowd going, no, she has to come with. She actually voluntarily goes, you know what? I'll go with you. To save humanity, she's got the balls just like Superman. You know what? He might meet a Man of Steel. I'll go for humanity up there, too.
Well, I also saw that as her chasing the story. If she stays behind, she doesn't get the full... grasp of what's going on.
I can see it that way too.
And she's Lois Lane as a character in general has always been somewhat fearless when it comes to chasing that story.
A little too fearless.
Oh, absolutely, a little too fearless.
Like her going off of ice cliffs and following the strange guy that's beaming fire through the ice and going to the scout ship. I love the scout ship idea. I love the fact that maybe Kryptonians have discovered Earth already and actually, researched it a bit. It kind of
that's also been sort of put in there within the mythology for quite a while now.
It gives it a good reason of why he chose Earth.
Yeah.
Because he knew about it. It wasn't just random.
The things that bothered me a little bit, I do not quite understand the DNA story. That basically Superman is now all of Kryptonians in one. Basically, I mean,
a little bit. They took sort of the DNA of that Alpha Kryptonian or whatever.
Yeah,
whatever the
so
skull was.
he's special. I mean, it seems to me like this whole entire movie is about choice, right? You know, the choice of living hidden life, and you know, the choice of who you're gonna fight for, the choice of which side to pick. You know, in the end, he had to make the ultimate sacrifice by basically killing the last of his own people. You know, some people say this is not a superhero movie, but I think it is. I mean, if you were the last two humans on Earth and you kill the other human, I mean, that's kind of a hard decision to do. So, bringing to the death scene, going, you know what, I didn't mind. I agree why some people saying that Superman should have found a different way to deal with it. I can see that. It doesn't bother me, just because, like what Charlie pointed out, it bothered him so much that I kind of see this as the origin of him never doing this ever again.
Yep,
so
exactly.
Yeah. And I guess here's the thing that kind of, and this is sort of a very circular argument, which is why the argument bothers me. It's all up to the sort of writer's choice of if they're going to give him another out or not, but that loses the point of the scene if he has another way out.
Yeah.
Like, if he covers the eyes, well, the battle goes on. If the point is to show what would he sacrifice, what would he do if he's pushed to this point where he had no other choice, where to save humanity he had to
kill his last own person.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's like the whole point of the scene, and saying, well, he should have flown up, or he should have done this, or he should have done that.
I mean,
kind of defeats the purpose of the scene.
And let's even think about it this way: in reality, he also killed all the rest of the Kryptonians that were in the movie, because he crashed that ship into the Phantom Zone, drive, and turned into a Phantom Zone drive, and they all got sucked into the Phantom Zone, possibly more than likely to their death or internal banishment. Yeah. One way or another, it's like, well, there's really not much of a difference here, guys.
No.
Yeah.
But that was off camera, so it's okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, going back to that scene, some people were like, well, he didn't save all these people in the city yet. He's going to worry about 4 people in a subway station or whatever that was. I'm sorry. I mean, I thought it was fine. You know, sure, it could have been bigger, could have been outside him, saw killing even more people. Sure, it worked for me. So, I mean, he did save a soldier during the movie, too. I mean, they showed that he's trying to save people, and they went all out with the action. It doesn't bother me. Could they show more him saving people? Sure, why not? I mean, but the movie worked for me. I mean, from beginning to end, it's a modern Superman. It's it's not what everybody expected it to be, but I think they've done it right. And the other thing that got pointed out is saying it's not a superhero movie, it's a sci-fi movie. I'm sorry, The Dark Knight is not a superhero movie either. It is a great movie. Why should this just be limited to a superhero movie just because he's Superman? He's a sci-fi character, and this is a great sci-fi story, and it doesn't bother me at all. The other thing that kind of was weird to me was Jor-El putting all the DNA into Superman, going, if he's trying to save his own race, why is he putting it all into one guy? I don't know. That's a little iffy to me there. But there's the whole thing about that Kryptonians don't have choices anymore. They're growing up not to have choice. Well, if he's born naturally, then there shouldn't be that choice thing in him, I guess. So there's some iffy...
Well,
I'm just saying there's some iffy stuff in the movie. I agree to all the haters out there.
I kind of see that scene as a... Look... While we can't come with you, the blood of Krypton runs within you. It's sort
That's
of
cool. Oh, yeah.
Their
some kind of Viking take on it.
Their take on Bottle City of Kandor, right? They're all miniaturized inside of you. Some variation like that. To me, where it was, Zod's plan was we are going to take the sun, your blood, the son of Jor-El, who you saw put basically all this stuff into. Yeah. We're going to take your blood and start up those tubes. So he could. I mean, he may, whether he knows it or not. Yeah. He may have the ability to create a new Krypton within him. It's just Zod was like, we're going to do it right here on Earth and kill all the humans.
Yeah.
So,
and that was one of the things where you can definitely say that he killed the current last of his race there's nothing to say that that was the only scout ship in existence anywhere.
Right. I mean, they sent
Like,
they sent thousands of ships out there, and who knows? And there's people in the Phantom Zone, and this. For the last son of Krypton, Superman sure fights a lot of Kryptonians.
Yeah.
So there's always ones coming.
Well,
out
it's really funny too that they did the whole baby thing underwater, because if you think about it, all the scout ships, they could have been banging too and busting out babies also. But
Yeah, sure.
But that's again. I mean, that's the kind of
and
there's
if you
plot holes, but whatever. It's Superman.
And if you follow Superman, I mean, we still have Argo, or we still have Kandor. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
these are
And
bottled
supposedly,
cities.
in the comic books, Supergirl was in it in the companion comic book.
I
And
think
that's-
Kara is on Krypton. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I don't think they show her.
Oh, okay. I thought she was in the comic book for some reason.
No, she is.
Oh,
in the
okay.
comic, I think she's on.
She's in
I haven't
Krypton.
read
I
them,
got it.
but I'm pretty sure she's
I haven't
on
read
the
them
Krypton
either.
Oh,
scene.
okay, cool. I really liked Jor-El like everybody else. He was bloody fantastic, and it's funny because I'm actually not a Russell Crowe fan. I was kind of like rolling my eyes when he got hired, but fantastic job. I mean, just bloody fantastic. He was great. He's kind of the voice of God, the voice of reason in this whole. What else can I talk about this? I like the beam when Superman is going against the beam on the what's that thing he called it?
the gravity.
Yeah.
The gravipolator, whatever it's called. Just because the first time I watched Superman, it was a cartoon. It was a Max Fleischer cartoon. It was fighting some evil scientist, and there was some giant beam he was like fighting, and it was hitting him down, and he was like punching it back, and slowly getting back on his feet and punching all
I
the way
remember
back.
those.
So to me, that's a kind of a cool throwback to that. And with that said, I'm very thankful that there's no one of these stupid iconic poses in these movies. I'm really glad they didn't do this.
Yeah.
Well, they did iconic poses when he was a kid.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, whatever.
When he had the cape on at the end and his dad was watching
that one.
him.
Yeah, no,
and-
I agree. Yeah, I thought it was a little cheesy, but supposedly when he's fighting back, supposedly we get a little cameo of Christopher Reeve, or someone is cheating online and is making everybody believe.
You didn't
that
see that?
No, what's this?
Yeah, so his face kind of warps, and I caught it. I just didn't realize it's well. Again, this could be some idiot guy on the internet trolling everybody, but it seems like he's morphing into Christopher Reeve's face for a second and going
Because
back.
they're showing that weird sort of impact from the gravity on his face as it's pounding down. Supposedly a guy took film of that and went frame by frame and found a frame where he looks exactly like Christopher Reeve.
Huh.
So if that's true, that's kind of cool. If that's not true, oh well. But that was a cool thought, and whoever is doing the troll is pretty good at it. So props to you, dude. What's the other things? I didn't like Jenny Olsen. I'm sorry. I think that takes away from the character. This is where changing the sex kind of bothers me. Jimmy Olsen is Superman's pal. He's his best friend.
But we don't know, and she's barely.
But
in
that's the
it.
character, though, right? That's the
Right.
character, though. Making that a woman makes it a little awkward. With,
But
Lois
they
Lane a
kind
little
of
bit.
set her up as Lois Lane's friend, right? So it's
So that could work. I mean, if they're changing it over to Lois Lane's friend, that might work.
Not to mention, because they never specifically called her Jenny Olsen in the movie, and I don't even know if they had her.
I should have
in
looked
the
it up if they
credits.
credited it that
her
way.
credit
but
is just Jenny.
it's just Jenny, no
And
Olsen.
as far
Yeah,
as I know,
I
the
watched it.
only place that said Olsen was in some of the promo photos. They actually were promo photos of blah 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 blah. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're sort of testing the water to see how people react, so they can
I
do
mean, they
the
can easily get out of that. Yeah,
exactly.
I kind of like the fact that Perry and Jenny and they have a clue about it too, or they know, just flat out know when the idiot doesn't.
Well,
it's kind of funny.
I don't think they necessarily know Clark is Superman, but they know
The way I saw
Lois
that last
has a relationship with Superman.
the way I saw that last scene was them knowing, them smiling on Clark Kent. Well, that's just me. I felt like they knew, but they could be just me. In the movie, I kind of like the false sense of security. How Superman is putting on the shackles on, as they say, that makes him feel better, so I'm putting on. They actually do that through the movie. Like when they're fighting in the city or in the small, is it smaller? I think in smaller, if I see people locking the doors and stuff like that. And I kind of think it's funny because in reality, really, what do we know what's out there? What does locking the door really mean? It really doesn't mean anything. So I kind of love the fact that there are little things in there like that. I love the fact that all his life, Clark Kent had to hold back. And the one time Zod goes and attacks his mom, he just lets loose. That's the first time.
That was great.
All of his rage, this is just not Zod hitting his mom or attacking his mom. It's all the guys that picked on him, everybody, he just was able to let loose for the first time. And that's the beauty in having Zod as the main bad guy, because he can actually do that for once. I thought that was well done. I think now I think it's a beautiful movie. I had my doubts when it came out of the movie. Yeah, I think I got all my points across. Oh, main point actually is no. It's actually a pretty big one.
Are we clocking in at like 40 minutes yet?
It doesn't matter, man. I get my time because Ryan didn't let me talk last time.
We only got like 4 minutes each.
I don't care.
I'm not stopping you.
I don't care.
As long as you agree with me, I'm not stopping you.
I'm not necessarily agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with myself, yo. No.
Yes, but you fall on this side of the table.
I guess now. I mean, like I said,
I'm literally sitting here bored shitless.
I mean, like I said, I had my issues the first time around, and the second time, I clarified my issues. No, my biggest thing is DC really has something here. Before I even go there, Omar, you're full of shit about Dabrowski fucking directing this shit. First of all, every superhero movie he's attached to, he never fucking did. He didn't do Watchmen. He didn't do Wolverine. No, he shouldn't even direct this movie. I'm sorry. You're way off there.
You don't need to apologize.
Yeah, he is just trolling on that one. But anyways, going back to my point, DC really has something here. With The Dark Knight, they established a kind of realism universe. With Superman, I think they did something similar, and they just kind of went to the next step. They're far more personal. They're far more thought-provoking than any of the Marvel movies. And I think they're hitting a whole different demographic of it. I feel like the Marvel movies are fun family movies. The first Iron Man was fucking awesome. I'm not going to deny it. I feel like everything else, they're safe movies. I mean...
this is what I was saying. I think the Marvel movies are very fun.
Yeah.
Dark Knight and Man of Steel to me are just on another level.
Let's be honest here. I mean, Dark Knight was a major risk to do that with Batman in that kind of a scale, that kind of a movie. Doing this with Superman is actually kind of a big risk. All the Marvel movies are playing it safe, and they really are. In many ways, they're a bunch of pansies. When I watched Thor, the first thing I came out saying, why wasn't this more vicious? This is fucking Viking mythology. He should be running around. There should be mud all over. There should be blood, everything, right? But no,
it's very clean.
It's very clean, which made it very not believable. Which sure.
Hold on. How is Man of Steel not clean?
It's kind of gritty.
There's no blood in this movie.
Doesn't matter. The shot.
There was no blood in Batman. There was no blood in Batman either.
Millions of people die.
Besides the millions of people dying thing. Okay, look. First of all, we don't know how long it took for that thing to get over the city. I didn't see bodies flying everywhere. I didn't see millions of people in the street. I am perfectly fine accepting the fact that a large part of the city left. We saw the Daily Planet with people in. There were reporters. Clearly, they're going to stay there. Yeah. We didn't see millions of people on the street. We saw a few scenes of backed up traffic as people were trying to get out of the city when they got punched to the whole other side of the city.
Yeah.
But I am perfectly content with saying, without explanation, that yes, a large portion of the city around this building have evacuated. Therefore, the deaths may be in a couple hundred, a couple thousand. Yeah. And even that.
Who's not to say he's being accountable for next movie? What if the first scene is the government going, look at all the damage he caused?
Luthor.
It's going to be awesome.
But not only that, to me, I'm also looking look, at no point in the movie is Superman I'm just going to hang out while Zod's destroying stuff. No, he's actively trying to stop him the whole movie.
And the other thing is, it's the first time he's doing it. You're bound to make mistakes.
He is Superboy in this movie. This is his very first time. So I'm death of millions, death of no one.
The other thing is when you get to let loose for the first time, being completely mad, completely pissed off. You don't think twice about what's around you. I'm sorry. Anybody that's been in a fight, if someone pisses you off to the point where you just don't care anymore, and sure, that's maybe taken out of the character that Superman should always care, and yada yada yada. If it's your first time, you make mistakes, and I feel like
even beyond that, I always look at this final battle as the equivalent of his final battle with Doomsday. When you're talking about fighting somebody on that level where you can't hold back, you can't.
He has to go all out, or he's going to lose, or he's going to die. And then what does that mean for humanity?
To me,
you're done.
To me, it's the exact same as the final episode of Justice League Unlimited, where he's fighting Darkseid, and he's like, look, I have to hold back all the time or I could kill everyone. With you, I don't have to hold back. And then he punches Darkseid through about 12 buildings. If you didn't like, if you hated that scene in Justice League Unlimited, then feel free to hate Man of Steel. Yeah. But everyone I know thought that was one of the most badass things of all time, and that whole episode's fucking amazing.
Also in Superman Elite too, he was like, all of a sudden he stopped holding back, and that's when the guys go like, whoa, that's not what you do,
right?
Dude.
That's the whole point of that story.
Yeah. It's Elite, by the way, is a great cartoon. Everybody should go watch it. And I'm reading the book right now. But anyways, I feel like Marvel is doing safe movies. They're doing family movies. They're printing money. They're making toys.
But they're good.
No, I'm not dissing them. I'm just saying that's what they're doing. And I think DC, while yes, taking about maybe 5 to 10 years longer than Marvel is, I think their movies are far more well put together, and I have a feeling that 20 years from now, we can watch Dark Knight, we can watch the Superman, they're going to hold up a lot better than any of the Marvel movies.
20 years from now, we'll get a Criterion Green Lantern collection.
Sorry.
I'll be in.
I'm not including Green Lantern in any of this. Sorry.
I have a weird question that I hadn't really considered, but I'm going to pose it to the podcast because I'm now considering it.
Yeah.
So when it comes to the spirit of the DC, Batman movies and now Superman specifically, I would say that they are really sort of channeling more what I would say the modern comic stories.
Yeah.
Where I would say the Marvel movies aren't necessarily channeling the modern comic stories. They're mainly channeling stories that
they're a little more classic.
That's probably a good idea because the modern Marvel stories suck.
Well,
it's a modern take on the Silver Age stories where DC is definitely pushing modern take on a Superman Returns was a modern take on a Golden Age story.
Yeah, that was bad. Really horrible. I mean, here's my thing. I feel like Superman, the Batman movies, the current ones, they're mature movies. While the Marvel movies, not dissing them, they're family movies. The other thing, before I'm wrapping this up, I promise. Growing up as being a mixed kid, not really belonging to either side, I really like this movie. I'm sorry. Yeah, you see him being torn between the people he's supposed to be with versus the people that kind of raised him, yet they were mean to him. It's bloody fantastic. So, good job. And to everybody out there that hates the movie and saying, why am I praising this movie? I don't even like Snyder. I didn't enjoy his last 3 movies, and I think this one was pretty well done. I like that he's that urban myth growing up, helping people that, just hear stories about. I just think it adds so many more levels to Superman, and so I think it's a great movie after it's all said and done.
All right. We're going to go some questions.
Thank God.
Come on.
God,
shut up, Brock.
Let's
watching girls fawn over puppies.
What?
Depends on the girls.
No.
What's wrong with
now
puppies?
everybody is saying they want to see.
Because that could be really cruel about you 3 women.
Everybody is talking about Justice League movie. Ryan, too. I really do not give a shit about the Justice League movie. As long as we get more great Superman movies, I really don't care about Justice League movie. I gotta be just putting it out there.
I mean, I would love Justice League, but someone actually had a really good suggestion, and I said, this is great. Just do World's Finest. Just do Superman, Batman.
That's what I've been saying all along.
Yeah.
Weren't you listening to me on the podcast?
I
Jesus Christ.
listen to you sometimes.
Yeah.
I've heard it from you, too. I've heard it from a few people, but especially post this.
Yeah.
Do a second Superman movie, and then go right on the World's Finest. And then JLA can come when it comes. At this point,
here's my thing,
if they're racing against Avengers, you lost. It's too late.
Here's the thing. Marvel's going to be pumping out movies, and I'm going to have a hard feeling that they're all going to be great. I rather DC puts their stuff together, holds off, makes the right movie, like they've been having for 4 movies straight in my point of view, except for not taking Green Lantern, but the 3 Batman movies and the 1 Superman. I think they're doing a fantastic job. So if we're going to have to wait another 3 years, maybe just 1 now, but I'm hoping that's not the case. But, I want good movies instead of rushed movies.
I just want a clear direction. I want the sense that they have a plan. That's all I really
care
fine.
about. I don't want them changing their minds 2 feet forward, 1 step back.
That's true. Yeah, no, I agree with that. My point is in this whole thing is I prefer a Justice League movie 10 years from now if it's going to be awesome, as opposed to a Justice League movie 2 years from now and being bad.
What I tell you, and this is what's going to happen with the Marvel movies, once you start replacing a few actors, once you're on the 7th or 8th shitty Iron Man villain, because really Iron Man's got about 3 villains worth talking about, and really he has none worth talking about. I'm cool with Marvel characters and Marvel villains, but outside of Spider-Man, Flash, Superman, and Batman, obviously, there's not a lot of strong villains out there. You can get a couple Avengers ones. You should definitely get some Justice League ones if you do them right. I mean, I love a lot of villains.
Yeah.
But the public, Superman, I think Superman, Spider-Man, and even they've been afraid to do anything with Superman. So Batman and Spider-Man are the only one with a big, and then even that, we have 12 Spider-Man villains in the next movie, and we'll see. We'll see where they go with it. I think they're going to have to start. Well, they're going to have to start cycling characters. They don't have the FF. They don't have X-Men. They don't have Spider-Man. Guardians is going to be the movie. If Guardians hits and then we get like a Heroes for Hire and that works, okay, then if we get
Heroes for Hire is going to be TV again.
But if we get 2 or 3, if we get a Doctor Strange movie that works, okay, I'm kind of a believer because Iron Man was kind of out of left field. Cap, Thor, Avengers, sure, X-Men, Spider-Man, these I can see.
But you're also right; they went straight for the.
I don't see
top tier villain.
I don't see a Thunderbolts movie. I don't see I'm trying to look on the shelf here. I don't see a Deadpool movie working all that well. I don't see a Scarlet Spider movie working. I don't see a New Warriors movie working. Like these are not movies.
Hey, the New Warriors might show up on the TV show. I'm holding out for that. But Marvel, it's too bad. It's really too bad. The Fantastic Four, X-Men, and some of these other characters are not in the.
If they had those.
Dude,
then it's over. Then they can have
so
2.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, then they can have everything together.
Can you imagine the Fantastic Four in the current universe? It would just be fucking great. Yeah, I mean, it'd be awesome. I mean, it's just too bad this has happened this way. In about 20 years, when there maybe the rights revert, but Sony's saying they're never giving up on the Spider-Man rights. Fox is never giving up on Fantastic Four and X-Men rights.
Wow. So we'll see what happens with the next Fantastic Four and Wolverine.
Yeah.
Well.
So, all right, we're going to move into some questions and comic talk here. Let's get away from this movie crap. This is from Colin, who asks, should we care about Infinity, The Hunt, or Infinity Heist? Or is this just Marvel making more tie-ins for more money? I had no idea what these books were. I had to look them up. Apparently, they were announced at the beginning of last month. I had never even heard of these.
I'm going for the trying to make more money.
Yeah, they're Infinity miniseries. They're probably completely skippable, like most event miniseries are.
Well, I will tell you this. I will probably read them, and I will probably tell you after I read them whether or not they were worth reading.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
But that doesn't help their wallet before that.
Well, that's fine, because all I can say is anything Marvel puts out with Infinity in the title right now, I'm going to at least check out.
Well, I mean, at least it's doing what they want it to do, because, my orders on books like Captain Marvel jumped from like 5 copies to 10, so, they're doubling their money, of course. That book is terrible, so...
Hey, going back to the Marvel thing, I think we're not going to see an Iron Man movie for a while.
I don't think so.
We're going to see Robert Downey in the Avengers movies, but I don't think we're going to see more movies.
They have to.
I think they're done. Yeah. I think they're done.
Well, he's not even... Is he under contract for 2?
He just signed for 2 and 3.
Basically.
Yeah. He just signed recently for 2 and 3.
Yeah.
So he's
so they agreed to pay the other actors more?
Maybe.
For Avengers 2 and Avengers 3.
Mm-hmm.
No, they decided to pay. They decided to agree and pay the other actors more money.
Maybe
we don't know.
We don't
Maybe who knows?
Well, but those were the other Iron Man actors, right?
No. The Avengers people are going behind.
He was
too.
pushing for the Avengers people because they were.
Well, he was not pushing. He became the unanointed leader, just being he's the veteran and the whole crew. Because because
he's the only one who got a really good payday for Avengers,
except for Terrence Howard, who didn't get to come back. But.
Walzo asks, what comics do you think need a change in tone? It's funny we just spent half an hour talking about Superman, because Superman Unchained aside, Superman. New 52 version ain't working, boys. I like the ideas, but I'm just...
the Hector Hammond stuff has been okay. I've enjoyed it.
They announced Greg Pak's taking over action.
I'm excited for that because I like the Batman Superman book.
And
how's that? I heard that was really good.
And he's doing Batman Superman, and with Snyder doing Superman Unchained, just get someone on Superman, Superboy and Supergirl. I like the attempt, but...
The attempt was fine, but no, boy.
It just needs to change. Superman needs to be... Just, I don't want classic. I don't need red underwear. I don't need Truth, Justice, the American Way. But something. I love the Grant Morrison stuff and it works. But you need to. But that is a cool origin and a good setup. You need to move on. Superman feels kind of just wheel spinning over 2 years in, and really of all the DC franchises, that it's just not happening. So
concur.
And X-Men Legacy needs to drop the legacy part. but that's just me.
You mean they just need to drop X-Men Legacy?
Oh, yeah, that too. Stefano asks, what are your hopes for the fallout of DC's Trinity War / Forever Evil event? I know Toby's answer. For Nightwing to still be alive.
Yeah, I'm not going to read until someone could tell me. Charlie, tell me when he stays alive, then I'll start reading.
Confirmed.
Well, supposedly they said he's going to stay alive.
Well, but if he is dying, I will not touch a DC book ever again. I'm done with DC.
Until they bring him back?
Maybe. Or the old universe.
I mean, I think this is just going to take all their villains, bring them to prominence, all their new villains, show why they're, villains, great villains, because I have, some of the modern villains.
I'm actually kind of looking forward to the new villains, too.
Yeah, well...
And there's some of the sketches good coming out. I'm like, that looks kind of eerie. That could be cool.
I don't know how much of this is... this doesn't seem to be, something that was sort of not repeatable. But when I was at that DC meeting... Dan Didio. Oh no, he actually talked about this on the Kevin Smith podcast as well. So they were pretty upfront that DC definitely had a bit of a kind of a sophomore slump, quote unquote. It's the first part of this year, going into their second year with the New 52, and they were trying to we don't want to play it safe. We got a lot of success by mixing up, by trying something different. So let's keep going with that. And that included bringing in new villains and things like that. So I hope this does good versions of the classic villains and then brings to prominence some of the new villains.
I think what DC's doing with this is I like how they're doing, okay, September's going to be our big across-the-line kind of event, whatever, right? But then throughout the year, you're going to get, this month or these 2 months is going to be a Green Lantern thing. These 2 months is going to be,
Well, they have every month there's a major either new launch or some form of event that's trying to...
Within a franchise.
Within a franchise.
But it's not overbearing the whole... It's not saying, I have to buy 14 other titles.
Yeah, other than villains a month, yeah.
It's like if I'm already buying Justice League Dark, and Justice League of America, I'm pretty much well covered, but they might have a one-shot or something that I need to pick up.
Yeah.
For the extra, which is fine, but it's when you're trying to have to pick up 15 other issues.
Well, I'm hearing some... Even my DC rep earlier today was those Justice League numbers. Big stuff happens before Forever Evil. Like Trinity War, some shit going down. So something's happening. Something's coming.
Do you think they might be trying to redo the Titans brand?
Well, the Troya is going to come out of this. All the other characters are missing are coming out of this. You heard it here first. I'm joking. I'm guessing.
Well, I'm just thinking in terms of the way they've been doing the Teen Titans book, and I don't know how the sales on that book have been, but it's kind of felt...
Yeah, it's mid-level.
Yeah.
To me, Teen Titans, again, I am okay with these characters, and you can fit this in with the kind of classic Teen Titans lore mythology, but I think they need to acknowledge, this can't be the original Teen Titans. I think you kind of need to acknowledge some of the earlier stuff.
I'm kind of... Okay.
I say
I'm just going to spill my general sort of thought process moving towards this Forever Evil Villains Month. Is whatever the Trinity War is, I'm pretty sure is going to take up the Collective Justice League's attention fully, which is basically going to allow the villains, while the A-listers are off fighting their
semi-Justice League, Young Justice story.
Yeah, is going to basically leave everybody who's left behind vulnerable to all the villains who are no longer being policed by the Collective Justice League.
Right. Well, in one of the solicitations, they straight up say, with the Justice League defeated, blah, blah, blah. So
I'm wondering if that's, with Nightwing being a sort of key player within this event, as we know.
Oh, now we're talking.
He is pretty much also a key player.
Nightwing is the main character.
Yeah.
They've already said that.
And with him being the key player in this, I'm wondering...
Should I get over the fact that I hear that he's dying, that I should just read this book? Because
probably.
He's my boy.
Because I'm guessing he's going to learn based on the little bit they've shown, I'm guessing he's going to learn very quickly it doesn't help to stand alone.
Well, I mean...
Against what's coming.
He could be building the Young Justice. They're really in business.
He absolutely could be. And And there's no reason why they couldn't, let's say, have the big bad be Darkseid and kind of have this be a fake season 3 of Young Justice.
Yeah.
So,
Oh.
there you go.
I think you're on the money there, Charlie. You know what? If they completely
You just
scrapped
made me
Teen
happy.
Titans and just relaunched it as Young Justice and did like a kind of
Young Justin-ish 52 take.
like a new version of Teen Titans where it's like, yeah, I don't need all the classic characters, but Teen Titans doesn't feel like anything.
Yeah.
It feels, and the output that is still like with Superman. It doesn't feel like it has a spot in the world.
Yeah.
It feels like it's just sort of this. Okay, well, Robin has Teen Titans. Why?
Yeah.
Like they don't really like I don't even know where they're,
They're
stationed.
often their own little,
Yeah, it feels
thing
very
at this point.
disconnected. Very disconnected.
which this event could propel them up and make them much more connected, I guess
Yeah.
is my thought.
Okay, now I'm excited.
Not to mention possibly folding that into their quote-unquote Justice League brand and stuff.
Yep. Yeah, my good. All right, Nick asks, Larfleeze #1 is a hilarious and well-written book.
Oh, I love that book.
I didn't get to read it because Ryan didn't get the
We
book.
don't have any copies to read.
Did you lads have
I
the
read
sa-
one.
Did you lads have the same experience? And Nick, other than Charlie, no, we did not because we got shorted all our copies.
That's
So
okay. I loved it.
we shall be receiving
Charlie
your-
went
I'll
to another
have-
store and he tore it down. He took the book, he read it, and he left it behind because that's the way.
I heard it was
Charlie
really good,
Yes, it was really good.
and we shall be receiving our copies, if not this week, then next week. So
I'm looking forward.
But I bring
to it.
enough excitement for the entire group here.
Yeah.
Okay,
Denny
A lot
asks,
more because I'm pretty low from the first.
slap him
40
around, Charlie. Slap him around.
Danny asks, I've been enjoying Inhumans in FF. Recommendations for Inhumans collections similar in tone or just good collections?
Wasn't there that really good J. Lee Marvel Knights Inhumans? Was that a
Yeah.
good book?
Yeah,
was really-
it's a Paul Jenkins and Jay Lee. That was that was really the first modern Inhumans book. There was like the silver, there was like the Bronze Age one,
Yeah.
but that Paul Jenkins Jay Lee book is incredible. A little different in tone than this FF,
Yeah.
but still really good, and it should still be in
Well,
print.
most of that stuff is... Because most of the stuff I can think that had good Inhuman stuff, like War of Kings and...
The
That,
Hickman
The
FF stuff.
Annihilation,
Yeah.
Well, Annihilation Conquest, yeah.
yeah, all that's very different in tone than what we have here. I'm not sure there's any like direct this tone in Humans I can point to.
No, not really. But it's good. I mean, basically all the various Inhuman miniseries have been good. And they definitely Black Bolt and Medusa especially played a big role in Hickman's FF and a few other titles. So.
Yeah.
Jason says, and hey, maybe this is for you, Toby. He says, I've never been a big Superman fan, but Man of Steel made me wish I was watching an Invincible film instead of anything Superman related. I'm at a point where I think Invincible is better suited for modern audiences.
That's more a Charlie question because I haven't read Invincible. I'll be honest.
Well, to me, I am way far behind on Invincible, but my overall pitch for Invincible has always been, what if Spider-Man's parent was Superman and he was bad? Like, that's kind of the early day base pitch for Invincible.
Yeah.
Like, clearly
Early day pitch.
Yeah, early. I mean, that has changed as time has gone on. But to me, Invincible has this Spider-Man feel to him, and the villains have this very sort of Miracle Man, Superman.
Well, I understand where you're going with there. It's really a second generation superhero book. I mean, you have your Superman, you have your Justice League, you have your stuff already well established, but then it's got the twist because Superman wasn't a benevolent, dropped on there as a baby. He's more like Zod.
Yeah.
Well, for the people that want to take another take at Superman, that's that Squadron Supreme book, Supreme Power by Straczynski. I thought that was a really cool Superman-ish
it was
take.
cool. It just didn't go very
that
far in
first
the
couple
end.
books were awesome, though. I mean,
There's Irredeemable.
Yeah, that's good too.
But the Supreme Power is basically Superman taken by the government and the government raising him to be the head of the... I thought that was a really well done. It's too bad, it kind of went nowhere, but a lot of Straczynski books do that.
Yeah. Let's see. This is where I think this is Ahai.
What was the actual question by...
Not really a question, just
It was basically just pimping Invincible, which it deserves because Invincible is good.
yeah.
We should do a book club on Invincible, maybe. Maybe.
What do you think of the recent changes in Warner Brothers management, and will it bring back the old DC? Now, I haven't really been following this, but I know there's been a lot of kind of upper management changes.
Did they get rid of Bob Harris?
No, at Warner Brothers.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with DC
And
directly.
there was some rumor, some talk that maybe Paul Levitt's going to go back in some fashion. I haven't. Charlie, have you been following this at all? Or
Not in terms of the rumors on who's going to step in and all that, but
Yeah.
I mean, any kind of changeover, there's always these kind of rumors that go on, and depending on who they put in there, you'll see a big amount of support for the comic properties, or you'll see a big withdrawal of support for the comic properties, or things might just continue as is based on the success of Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Which I think is much more likely. I don't think they're going to completely 180 on the superhero properties when they're making so much money.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't see much changing.
Joshua has a couple questions. We'll read these quick. What are each of your plans for Villains Month? I'm considering skipping it altogether as it seems so scattershot. Brock, we'll go around the table. What are you doing for Villains Month?
I think I'm going to do the same thing I did with the New 52. I'll focus on getting titles that I seem interested in, and go from there. If people recommend something, I'll maybe check it out after the fact. But I think I'm just going to mainly kind of focus on, I'm not going to get Nightwing
Why not? He's the best ever.
because I don't read Nightwing.
Screw you, Brock.
Well, there is no Nightwing. So
Yeah, I
there
was
you
going
go.
to say,
Well, no, whatever the Nightwing.
There is no
he's
Nightwing.
in the mini. He's in the
Okay.
Jeff Johns mini, which
I'll pick up-
you better get that.
I'm gonna
You better get that,
Jeff Johns
Brock.
Mini. Jesus.
Yeah, this
Gosh.
podcast has gotten far too fanboyish at points.
Yeah, I know.
Well, so what this villain, for those who don't know, what they're doing for this Villains Month, and we talked about this, I think, in the last episode quite a bit. But basically, there were no regular DC books that month. All their major titles, Justice League, Action, Superman, Wonder Woman, Green Arrow, blah, 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 they're all getting replaced with between 2 to 4 one-shots throughout the course of the month based on some of their villains. So there's no, there's no Dark Knight title that month. And is there even a Dark Knight
Charlie said he wants every single one of them
23.1?
I do want every single one.
because they got the super cool 3D covers.
Well, we'll get to Charlie. We'll get to Charlie.
It's like this. I don't read Teen Titans, so whatever villains they would do for Teen Titans, I probably won't get those.
Yeah.
Well, how do you know though? It might be a villain you care about.
That's the thing. If there is a villain I care about,
Yeah, but
then
that
I'll
might
go
be
for
the
it.
that might be the Teen Titans replacement. You don't know that. You don't know what they're doing.
But that's the thing, is that's how I kind of went with the New 52
Trigon?
was
Trigon.
I kind of attacked it how I read what I wanted to read.
I'm thinking you're
based
gonna
on my
have some
interest.
surprises. That's what I'm guessing.
Let me see if I can actually pull up a list here. I can real quick if we want to go down the list.
Ooh, going down the list.
Not that this is super exciting, but to give people
It is
kind
to
of...
Brock, evidently.
Well, to give people an idea of what's actually coming. And why don't we just say, I'll go through the list and we'll just say, yes or no, what we're getting. Well, I should say me and Charlie are probably buying them all. So...
You're buying them all, period. There's no problem.
Well,
But all the books-
Ryan is buying them all anyways since he owns a shop.
But all the books that are coming out are all the books I get. They're skipping all the books that I don't get, and all the villains are cool enough. So yeah. So Forever Evil, we already know that. That's a big miniseries. Okay, Justice League has four of them, right? So there's let's see. So there's Darkseid, Lobo.
Oh, Lobo.
Yeah, Dial E, which is a spin-off on the Dial H,
Huh.
one of the Dial H villains, and then Secret Society. So those are the four for Justice League.
Okay.
I will get everyone but Dial E.
Yeah. So Justice League America, Deadshot, Killer Frost, Shadow Thief, and Black Adam. Those are all badass villains.
Yeah, those are all badass. I'll get those.
Yeah, those are all great. Justice League Dark has Creeper and Eclipso. So
Creeper's
Creeper,
been so bad in Katana.
and it's written by Ann Noceti, so this is the Katana.
Yeah,
basically.
I won't pick up the Creeper.
Yeah, and Eclipso is Eclipso is by Dan Didio and Philip Tan, your favorite creative.
Hey, I can skip that
your
one
favorite
too.
creative team of all time.
Fucking suck my fucking
I would
killed
say
them.
the pre-New 52 Outsiders creative teams.
Yeah, killed it.
It was pretty
bad.
It was pretty bad. Actually, I like Philip Tan
That's
mostly.
my boy.
But his art in Outsiders is
His art in
dark.
Outsiders was bad.
Something happened. Maybe he was a colorist or something like that. But something was
In
going.
which book?
Outsiders?
When Dan Didio was writing it at the end and Philip Tan was drawing,
You gotta show me.
Philip Tan's work just went.
I think it was a colorist or an inker or something. Something was
Because
not.
that dude can draw,
No,
man.
he's a good
my
artist.
boy, too.
No,
That's his He-Man stuff is amazing.
He
Yeah.
only did one issue.
but I'm saying something was going on with that. It is hard to read. Again, I've complained about Marvel having terrible colors for years and years and years and ruin the artwork. It could just be the exact same thing where something happened.
We should call him. Go, what's up?
Aquaman, Black Manta, and Ocean Master, both by Jeff Johns, so those are good. Earth 2 has Desaad and Solomon Grundy, both cool.
Yes.
I think any reason to get those. Flash is Grodd, Reverse Flash, the Rogues, so he has 3.
Yes.
Green Arrow is Count Vertigo. Oh, I guess it does have one. So that makes sense.
I mean, I've been reading...
But it's the same creative team, so...
I'll probably read it. I probably won't get it.
Wonder Woman has Cheetah and the Firstborn.
See,
who's the new villain. The new Wonder Woman villain.
See, I'm not reading Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Wah, wah.
But I might
That's
read,
awesome.
But I might read it because it's Cheetah.
Action Comics has Cyborg Superman, which is one of the covers I saw. Zod,
which is really the Supergirl villain.
Just a Supergirl
right
villain.
now.
Yeah. Action Comics has Zod, which is the Greg Pak issue, which I actually saw the cover for that too, and that was awesome. Action Comics has Lex Luthor. Oh, sorry, Lex Luthor and Metallo. To me, those are all buys. Superman has Bizarro, Brainiac, Hell, and Parasite.
I'll skip Hell.
Batman, Superman is Doomsday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Batman, so there's not a skip in this list, trust me. Batman has the Joker, the Riddler, the Penguin, and Bane. Batman and Robin has Two-Face, which I also saw the cover of, which was fucking amazing. Batman and Robin is Court of Owls. Raj Al Ghul and Killer Croc.
Hell yeah.
Charlie's totally all over that.
Oh, I'm all over all these. Dark Knight has Ventriloquist, Mr. Freeze, Clayface, and Joker's daughter. So then we're finally seeing the new take on Joker's daughter.
That's a
Is
pretty
it the
good
new
lineup.
It's
ventriloquist?
so that's the Batgirl.
It's been in the back.
Yeah, I know. She's been in Batgirl. I just am curious if they might have done something with the old ventriloquist.
Detective Comics is Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, Scarecrow, and Man-Bat. Green Lantern is Relic, Mongol, Blackhand, and Sinestro. Swamp Thing is Arcane. Teen Titans is Trigon, and Deathstroke. So really, for me, there's... Yeah, Trigon and Deathstroke. Those villains sure suck. The fuck is wrong with you? So, for the most part...
I don't like Trigon. Deal with it.
What?
What? Oh.
I don't like Trigon. The words that have never been spoken in the English language.
So
I
I
don't
just
like Trigon.
I have to ask.
Yeah.
How many of the Justice League ones are written by Jeff Johns? Out of curiosity. Any of them?
Justice League. Let's find Justice League. Yeah. He wrote. He's writing at least. He's writing. He's co-writing both the Aquaman ones. He's writing Forever Evil. He's writing. He's co-writing with Sterling Gates the Secret Society one for Justice League, and he's co-writing with Sterling Gates the Black Adam one for Justice League America.
9 Jeff Johns titles that month.
Yeah.
I just have to say 9.
So,
Calm down,
Just so
Charlie.
everyone
Calm down.
knows, the little Charlie that's inside Big Charlie is dancing up inside.
So I think it's pretty
No.
clear that me
Big
and Charlie.
Charlie's dancing if you don't see it.
I think
No,
it's
he's not. He's like sitting down.
No, he's fidgety.
I think it's pretty clear me and Charlie are going to get all of them. Toby, you
I'm gonna look at the covers. I probably will.
get a few of them. So
I'm trying to come up with cool ideas to do with the covers.
Put them in a giant frame and.
I'm
wall
thinking
up
about it.
A whole wall.
I'm thinking
your
about
eyes
it.
would just be like, oh,
Yeah, and then throw up some E, and then you
You
just
know what
sit in front of it.
you need to put it as a trim.
Kids don't do E; it's bad for
I've
you.
along the
considered
ceiling
that too.
of one room.
I've considered that too.
Have you ever seen my giant commission I'm working on with Carlos Nanda? It started with one Sin City guy and Smarv, and then I'm like, it'd be cool if you could continue because he started like a tree. So next time he did like the little assassin girl, and then
Miho?
Miho, that's right. Thank you. Then he did Dwight. Then he did what else did he do? Gale, and it just kind of keeps growing. So it's just like one commission that kind of is getting longer and longer and longer and longer. That's probably going to be ending up like on the side of my wall on top
awesome.
one of these days. It's going to be cool.
Okay, a couple questions here that I'm going to wrap up. Josh says Chuck Dixon.
Yes!
Go. And that's exactly what happened. Chuck Dixon
Fuck yeah!
has gone from the comic industry.
Oh, no, come back!
Sorry, Chuck. He's great. And he'll never work for DC again. So there you go. That's unfortunate.
My favorite DC books are
Is he
written
still
by
getting
him.
paid for Bane?
Probably.
I hope so.
Well, what happened? I didn't even know the story. Oh, he's just done.
He co-created Bane, and yeah. I mean, I think after Batman and the Outsiders, he left, and he's like, I'm done, I'm out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Independent stuff, or he's just done.
He hasn't done much at all.
You know what he should do is get hired to do the TV shows by DC Comics and do a Nightwing show and a Birds of Prey show, and
Get down with that.
he'd be
He'd
fucking
still
awesome.
be working
at
for
it.
DC.
We got
WB at that point.
We got two questions within about 10 seconds of each other. One's from Jim and one's from ZS Gamer, who both asks, what do you guys think of the Last of Us comic? Since I know I've been playing Last of Us, and I actually just finished it this morning. And
That's a geek box question, isn't it?
yeah, but the comic book Last of Us, the Dark Horse comic, based on
been good.
the video game. And I have not read it, but
enjoying it.
but Charlie has.
See, he's played the game. I've read the comic.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent combo.
I've done neither.
So we'll combine like Jan and Zaina, and we'll figure out how good the book is. But I mean, you're liking it. I mean, do you get it? Does it make sense?
Yeah,
without playing the game.
It seems to be like a prequel to the game, I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
yeah.
And yeah, it's fun.
Cool.
It's neat. It's sort of setting up the world for me, which is
It's
cool.
showing Ellie before, right? It's Ellie's
Well,
story.
she like escaped from an orphanage kind of thing with
Right.
this other girl. And,
Right. Yeah, they also that's all in the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but did they go into the
It's like the second reference to a porno site.
yeah, okay. Does it four's not out yet, right?
Four's
Just
not
look
out.
great.
3
Okay.
just came out this past
Has
week.
Joel been in the? You would know.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Basically,
Yeah, this is Ellie's backstory then. Okay.
she
Okay.
escaped from the orphanage with this other girl. They went and found this guy who was like camped out in a mall.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I know what this is. Okay. Yep. Well, if you play a game,
Calm down, Brock. Just let him talk.
This is showing references from stuff in the game. So there you go. There's some random questions here about stuff that isn't anything. And then Jason asks, I guess one last question. He says, what X titles, I wish Bryce was here, should I check out? I read Uncanny X-Men and Cable and X-Force, Wolverine, Savage Wolverine, and
Isn't that all of it? That sounds like all of them.
no, that's like a tenth of them. And what should I read and where should I jump on? And I'll give Bryce's answer. You should be reading all of them, especially the ones that are bad, because those are my favorites. Because I love X everything. I
almost got it.
have
You
X.
almost had it.
I know.
You're pretty
Brock,
close.
I know. I know.
Higher,
I
a little higher with
love
More
I love the
excitement.
X. I
More-
love so much of the X-Men all the time.
You got to be spitting into the
gotta look
microphone.
up and
And when I
talk.
came in to buy my books this week, there was like 600 X-Men books this week. But I was like,
Slam the table.
but I was just like, I buy them all because I'm Bryce. Sorry, Bryce.
Good
I
job.
love you. I love you, Bryce.
You realize he's going to hear that right when he walks in next week?
Yeah, that'd be great. Although I've slipped a little bit on Wolverine and the X-Men,
It's still good.
It's actually picked up again. All New X-Men to me is still the best X-Men book.
Oh yeah,
I
All
really
New
like
X-Men
that.
is awesome.
I've liked the first 2 issues of X-Men.
They've been okay.
Yeah. X-Force, Uncanny X-Force, I've really enjoyed. Other than that, the Wolverine books haven't done anything for me. They're like,
The Savage I like. Savage I like.
Yeah, I stopped reading Uncanny X-Force. It started out okay, but then it kind of fell a little flat for me.
it's got Phantom X in it, so
Yeah.
I'll read it.
So.
He's the best.
But we can
Uncanny-
all,
might be an
we
issue
can all
behind on
agree,
Uncanny X-Force.
do not read X-Men Legacy, right?
We can all
'Cause
agree
even
on
Bryce
that one.
can agree.
I've tried.
Like,
I've tried.
Bryce can agree that we should
I've tried.
X-Men Legacy.
I've tried. That book is unreadable. I like Cy Sperling. Is that his name? Spelling? Something like that. I can't remember how to pronounce his last name. I like him. I actually and Tang Ang Hot, the artist, I really like as well. His books
Did you
are both
really
their
just
names.
say that? Like you
Tang
said that
and
like
Hot.
you were about to vomit. Like
I'm attempting to pronounce these names that I'm not remembering exactly the spelling off the top of my head. But I do like both of them independently of each other. But X-Men Legacy, it's like Legacy's a terrible character and the book's terrible. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't do it.
Well, I don't mind the character. The book's horrible.
Yeah, Uncanny's been okay, but they need to get off the.
The mirroring everything, like I like a little bit of mirroring.
Well,
But
is the Mexican speedball still on it?
the half Bachalo, half what's his face, who's the other guy doing art on it. It's a tough book to read. There's no accessible art in that book, and I don't mind these guys in certain situations, but not on Uncanny
Like,
X-Men.
you don't mind Bocello doing steampunk?
I don't know.
Whatever.
For the most part,
Unique- I think
for the most part, I've liked that book. I'm not really into what they're doing with magic right now with Hell, but
Yeah.
other than that, it's been fine with me.
And there's a big X-Men miniseries crossover thingy coming up soon, so that'll be a thing.
You mean because they weren't crossing over enough already?
Yeah.
Better hurry up and throw that shit in there.
That's
otherwise we're not
okay.
gonna talk about it.
Is he
I'm glad to hear somebody else is reading Cable and X-Force.
Yeah.
You didn't want to feel alone in the world?
I like that book.
It's not quite sub only, Charlie, but it's as we were talking before the podcast. No, it's still we still sell a
like
decent
that
amount of
book.
shelf copies, but it's
Tier.
it's on the
Now little Charlie's in your body crying.
it's on the bottom
Yes, yes, it
50%.
is.
Stop talking about little Charlie because that's something
His
else.
head opens up and there's a little Charlie inside. Like
No, when you say little
uncontrolling.
Charlie, I think some people think of other
It's
things.
the bottom 50%. Okay, here let's
You've
before
ever
we
seen
go.
Men in Black?
Before we go, we're going to talk about a book that Charlie really liked, Brock really liked,
Yeah, I
I
enjoyed
think,
it.
and then Toby was like, "Ryan, why haven't you read this?" And it's in my stack. I'll get to it eventually. So, Wild Blue Yonder,
Yay.
from IDW, just came out a couple weeks ago.
Yay.
You still have plenty of copies.
We have
I'm
a
so happy.
giant big stack of the awesome Phantom variant. If you would like to purchase a copy of this book, I know nothing about it. What's this book about?
This book for me reminds me a lot of like certain animes that I've watched over the years, like Last Exile is one of those that
And
comes
all of
to
a
mind,
sudden,
and
Brock stops
I
caring
was
about
gonna say,
this book.
my attention was just like, whoa, what? And Brock's
Yeah,
like,
Brock is like, oh, damn it, what did I read
No,
this
I'm
book
just
now?
I'm just trying to I'm formulating in my head how to describe it.
Yeah.
And
In my own
like
words.
to me, that's where I kind of come up with these explanations because it sort of already started crafting this world with the ships and like
Yeah.
their previous gunner died, so they're recruiting this new gunner in a bar, and
yeah.
there's all these sort of factions going on. But it's just it already
good old
has sort
fun.
of pulled me into the world. It's already pulled me into the characters, and it kind of part of the reason why I talk about like Last Exile and that kind of stuff is I haven't really watched or seen anything in that genre recently. Like there's nothing really new that I've found in that genre. So this book totally just made me go, that's right, I love this genre. I forgot all about it, but this genre is awesome.
It's cool.
What genre would that be?
There's like Sky Pirates.
Yeah.
Sounds a little steampunky to me.
It's like Sky Pirates.
It's
yo.
it's
Actually, it hasn't
maybe
been
a little.
steampunking stuff yet. I mean,
it's a dystopian thing where instead of
I'm just
being
joking.
on the ground, we went to the skies.
yeah.
And like Charlie was saying,
It's like Waterworld, but in the sky.
yeah. But the book does a really good job in dropping you in exactly when you need to be dropped into this kind of story.
Yeah.
We're not bogged down in the beginning with getting to know too many people. We're kind of just introduce these characters really quickly. There's something they need to do. Boom, things are done. There's a lot of action that takes place, and then it's kind of like you want the next issue because you want to find out more about these characters.
Yeah.
And who wrote it? What's their first name?
Right.
Mike Reicht is story and script. Story and art is Zach Howard, and just story is Austin Harrison.
Okay, so yeah, they've done a good job in setting up this world and making you want to see what happens
Yeah.
next.
Crap, what was that video game?
Skyhawk.
No, I don't think so. There was like
Final
this,
Fantasy.
It was similar to a Final Fantasy game. That's the thing that's
Legend
driving me
of Zelda
nuts.
Skyward Sword.
Earthbound.
I
Legend
think
of
it
Zelda-
was a big game on the Dreamcast. Now that I'm thinking about it, like it
Crazy
was-
Taxi.
Oh,
No, it was not crazy.
Leisure Suit
Why?
Larry.
That's a good game.
Yes.
it is. I have it on my phone
on the
now.
Dream-
King's Quest 5.
Are you just
Matt.
going to name all the Sierra games I played when I was growing up?
Yeah,
He's going to start making things up. Don't listen to Brock. I like the book, and like
Yeah.
Charlie says, it actually reminds me of an anime pretty much right away. I mean, from the instance we went in, I almost want to say, even though there's not giant mechas in it, it has kind of a Gundam-ish feel to
Kinda.
it. I mean, when you read the characters, I could see some of the Gundam pilots in it.
Yeah.
The setting is set up pretty well. I don't know if I love the book yet, just because it's just the beginning. I'm really looking forward to seeing where it's going, but it was a damn fun read, and I
like the art.
Yeah, and I really appreciate it. I mean, even the main character reminds me a little bit of Korra, even though she's Cola in this one. And, she's more a Gundam pilot than she is Korra. But there's some similarities in the character, I think, for now. I mean, like I said, it's only one issue, so there's not a whole lot to take from. Character set up well, the art is good. it definitely
I
has.
was honestly surprised.
It definitely has an anime kind of feel to it, though. It definitely is kind of a first episode of a cool sci-fi anime, like almost.
Story-wise, but not necessarily artwork-wise. Like I didn't.
Well, yeah, it's not the art that reminds me of it. It's just I've watched animes that were in a very similar setting.
Yeah. So, no, really good job. So, I want to give it a big thumbs ups. And thank you, Charlie, for putting me on this book.
Yeah.
It's got a little Adam Strange Rocketeer vibe to it.
Yes, there are jetpacks.
Yeah, I love jetpacks.
So, see, you should already be reading this.
Simistack?
Now, I did try to force Ryan to read this about 2 hours before the podcast, and I think you could have done it within 10 minutes.
Well, if my mail order subscribers want their books shipped out in time.
You got Brock, he's your shipping and packing manager.
We had a phone snafu today.
Brock was running around doing whatever Brocks do.
I had it on my phone because I got to have it with me tomorrow at the image.
Next tomorrow, if you're listening to this somehow really soon, Brock will be up at the Image Expo in San Francisco, repping comics conspiracy.
What up? Jeez.
So give him some free swag to give to me so I can sell it on eBay.
Yeah, right. He's going to take a revenge. Look at all the stuff.
Look at all the stuff I got. I'm selling on eBay.
I have to use that money for my bus ride up there, and
sell it on eBay under the comic conspiracy account. And the PayPal money goes to my PayPal account because you're repping the store.
Just so everyone knows, this is how the man is taking advantage of us.
Yeah, you want to go?
But I want to thank everyone for buying through Amazon off of me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Woohoo.
Okay.
I don't know. I've never been. I'm actually kind of nervous. I've never been to one of these retailer things. So
okay. You really haven't been to a comic convention?
No, I have.
You went to like WonderCon like one day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't done the full convention experience where I sleep in. Well, I kind of. I don't think
there's no. I may be mistaken, but I don't think this is this isn't like the DC retailer thing. This is just like a little convention, and you just get in free because it's a retailer. I don't think there's like a retailer thing.
Should I bring in
no, but it seems
there's no sleeping in hotel rooms.
It seems
hotel
like
rooms
more
are for showers.
their press event. It's there. We're going to make a bunch of announcements. And
yeah. I know they're announcing a new J. Michael Straczynski book, and they're announcing a new.
I do like his writing.
Yeah. And they're announcing a new Ed Brubaker book.
Ooh!
And there's a very big surprise announcement that they have not said.
A new Alan Moore book.
Maybe a new Grant Morrison book. Oh, speaking of which,
is Ellis
Morrison
writing
Khan.
anything nowadays?
The only thing Warren Ellis has done in the last
because I know he's doing novels, but
he's doing that Avengers original graphic novel that Marvel's fifth attempt at a graphic novel series line. So he's doing like the very first, and it looks awful.
Okay, well, I hope they announce something from him because I realized yesterday I miss him.
He hasn't done anything. He's been doing.
I miss you, Warren Ellis.
I don't know if they're still available.
God, that little kid inside of you keeps crying.
But I don't
stop talking about his little kid.
But check the 2000 AD website if you're at all interested. If you were at all interested in getting the Zenith complete Zenith hardcover from 2000 AD, they went on sale today. It's Monday. I don't know how many copies are still available. It ain't cheap. It's £100 plus 20 pounds shipping to the U.S.
It's like 180.
So it's probably
150 at least.
It's a bit closer about
maybe even 200.
Yeah, it's getting closer.
You spent $200 on that book?
Complete oversized hardcover Grant Morrison Zenith book.
So that's why you were bent over a little bit when you were ordering that?
Did you buy two?
No, I just got one for myself. So I don't know.
Complete what?
Huh?
It's a complete what?
It's complete Zenith. Grant Morrison's first comic book. Long, never actually really in print.
In a land far, far away called...
Yeah, they did. There
called
was
the UK.
There was some old school trade paperbacks that got released through, I want to say Rebellion maybe, but very... I don't know that they ever really completed it. There, from what I understand, there was a complete Zenith softcover that was printed and then pulped, or it sat in a warehouse forever. It may have been pulped. I don't know. I'm assuming it has been by now, but. There was some issue with it. They could never get the rights to it or whatever, and now they're saying, well, we're doing it. So I am very, very, very happy to finally see this in print. One of the very few Grant Morrison things I own like a fourth of it, but glad to see it actually now. Because you pay this type of money.
I love how you went from going, one of the few Grant Morrison, I own like a fourth of it.
Well, it's one of the few Grant Morrison things I don't own in a complete format. So, I mean, there's a lot of his early work like that's in like zines and, the early anthology stuff that I don't have. But as far as... I think I own everything Animal Man to now. So all his U.S. work. And then going back...
This is me just thinking, Ryan totally needs to put up a list of, this is the Grant Morrison stuff I don't own on.
Well, again, there's I'm not completionist to the point of every backup story in something. Like, I'm talking like major bodies of work. Like,
come on.
Like
if you had a full-on list prepared, you'd be a
I think he has. Like, I was like that. I was like that with Neil Gaiman for a long time. But I was just like, I don't need these anthologies. I don't need this stuff. It's cool to have, but I'm not going to read any of this stuff. This other crap in here. So
I'm just glad that Neil Gaiman's going back to Neverwhere.
Yeah. Oh, which is an anthology. I didn't even talk about this. So we got 5 minutes. I went to the Neil Gaiman signing on Friday. Yeah, Friday at San Francisco. It was glorious. Neil Gaiman's last book signing ever. He read from his new book, The Ocean at the End of the Lane. He read a couple pages from a new kids book he's doing with Scotty Young, and it's called Forever.
Nice.
Fortunately, the Milk is the name of the book.
I'm buying it.
It's funny, really funny. And then he did a bunch of Q&A. People asked him questions about Doctor Who.
Talking about Scotty Young, did you ever get that the Girl X-Men cover of Scotty Young? It's kind of cool. They're like in a treehouse and stuff.
I didn't say that one.
Okay. Continue on. Sorry.
And then we got to go up and do. He did a signing. You could sign like the Ocean at the End of the Lane, and then one other book. I went with our friends Chris and Alia, who have been on the Geekbox podcast a number of times, and they had the magic touch this night. They got there. I was running super late, but I got there right as they were about to walk in, so I jumped in line with them, got in, no problem. They said they were going to hold me a seat. When we go in, there's a bunch of empty kind of seats down front, and I'm like, let's go there. And they're like, well, we're waiting for other people. We need 5 seats in a row, so we have to be here on this side. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, close enough. I don't know how long the signing is going to be. The previous night in LA, the signing went till 3 o'clock in the morning. My friend Seth, who's been on this podcast before, got out at 1:15 in the morning. So we're standing there, and I figured they're just going to kind of go row by row and go down the line and everything. They started on the left side, the side we sat at. We were like the 10th row to go. I was out of there before 9 p.m. with my book signed. It was great. I was so happy. I was like, oh, God, I didn't want to sit here until 2 o'clock in the morning. But he had mentioned having seen some of the artwork for J.H. Williams' Sandman, now called Sandman Overture, much
better title.
I made this joke on Twitter earlier, but it's totally true. The only thing I could think about when I hear the word overture is the old Bugs Bunny theme song. And you know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Overture, hit the lights. Like, that's all or whatever the hell the lyrics are. That's all I can ever think of. So when I went to get my book signed, I mean, he's just signing. There's not a lot of talk time there, but I had a very, most of the time he's just like head down, signing. Oh, thank you. And I said to him, I said, hey, I own a shop, blah, blah, blah. I love your work. As he's signing my books, and I go, I was at a retailer meeting with DC, and I got to see about 5 or 6 of the pages from Dan Didio and Bob Wayne, who had him like, whoa. That's loud.
Really low.
That's a really low plane. I heard it on my microphone or in my earphone.
In your microphone.
I heard it in my microphone.
Holy shit! The world is going under.
I said, under lock and key, I saw about 5 or 6 pages of J.H. Williams' art from Sandman Zero, and this is before they announced the name of it. And he popped his head up and just stopped, and he was like, "It's pretty amazing, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, it is pretty amazing." And he put his head back down and went to sketching. So it was good times. So Neil, if you're listening to this podcast, what's up? Come by Comic Conspiracy. We'll do a signing sometime. It's all good.
So why is this his last tour?
That's my Omar. Because there's like 2,500 people there, and he signed until 3 o'clock in the morning, and he's too nice. He's like, I just can't do it anymore.
No, but he's just saying he's done with it. Okay.
He's been doing stuff like this for years.
20 years.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's having...
Because when I saw him for signing, that was back in 2003.
Yeah, and that was
Ryan. Why didn't you tell me about this? Now I'm never going to get anything signed.
He'll be at Comic-Con.
And there was probably, 1,000 people there? 800 people?
There was a lot of people there. That was a decent-sized auditorium.
Yeah, I mean, it's just... The first time I saw him, there was maybe 50 or 60 people, and that was mid 90s, and it's just every time more and more and more and more.
That's great for him. That's awesome. I honestly, I haven't been reading his stuff because either I started too early, my English wasn't good enough yet, and I didn't understand it. But the first time, for some reason, I always kind of mix him with Tim Burton, like the way he is, like picture-wise and stuff like that. And I never knew how funny he was. And the first time I really noticed him was when I went with Charlie to one of the first Doctor Who panels, and he was there, and I was like, this guy's bloody amazing.
He is.
Just like fucking cool. He's fucking funny. He's cool. He's like, and I became, literally not reading a thing, I became an instant fan by listening to him for about 5 minutes. I was like, this guy's genius.
When he talks before he does a reading and stuff like that, it's it's really heartfelt and personal. And then if you're lucky enough to see him kind of in a smaller setting where he's kind of just talking about stuff in general, he's an amazing person.
I was really like within 5 minutes I was like, dude, this guy is freaking amazing. Like
the last time I saw him was at the Comic Experience 25th anniversary, which was a few years ago in San Francisco. They did a very limited signing with him because it was actually the first place he ever signed professionally. Back when Sandman #1 came out, they flew him out there to do a signing there because the owner Brian Hibbs loved the book so much. So he kind of is like a thank you. He's done a few signings there throughout the years and did this one. And because it was limited to 250 people, he kind of gave a few minutes to everyone when they were doing the signing. So I got to talk to him for a minute or two there. And I've talked to him a minute or two at some of the other signings and stuff like that. And he's one of those guys where, you don't know how people really are, but you kind of get a feeling of it. And, that last person in line, he's as nice to. I've seen it. He's as nice to the last person in line as he is to the first person in line.
That is very cool.
Yeah. It's super hard. But, people say, oh, he's, one of the nicest guys in comics. And everything I've ever seen, just is the same. I totally agree with that. He's, it was funny because, he's usually pretty calm and cool, collective, right? He's pretty just, doing his thing. But someone shouted something or someone clapped at some weirdly inopportune time during the thing, and his face just broke and he started laughing, and it was just really funny to see him just go so kind of out of his own character. And it's kind of that you kind of was like, what? He got really kind of like his face got all scrunched up, and he was like, and not like, usually he's very it's got that British charm, right? Very calm. But he sort of like was taken aback for a second, and everyone was just dying because of his response. Because it's just so rare to see him in that sort of reaction.
Cool.
So, because when he's reading his books, the audience is laughing, but it's like a stand-up comedian. Like they're not laughing at their own jokes. So it's sort of this thing where you saw him break out of that moment for a second, and it was pretty funny. It was pretty good. He's hilarious.
He's great. Even at the Doctor Who panel, he's just bloody fantastic.
Yeah, well, I'd love to see him at a Doctor Who panel because he's a huge fan. Obviously, he's worked on it now. So
I was really floored at that panel. I was like, that guy was funny. He made everybody laugh. He was joking. It was just like he didn't even have to try. He was just like being himself. It was really good.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna wrap up now. I think we're done.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought I got a look.
No.
All right. Well, now we are done. If you want to listen to this episode or any of our other episodes, you can go to comicsconspiracy.biz or geekbox.net where you can find all these. Or go on iTunes, subscribe on there, download, give us some ratings on iTunes. It's nice. I haven't looked at that forever. What else we got?
You can share us with friends.
Okay. Is that on Google+?
I don't know. Just share us. Just be like, here's a jump drive. Listen to these.
Okay. That's cool, too. You can go to the Geekbox forums.
It sounds like you're sharing dirty pictures of Ryan.
At forums.geekbox.net. You can talk to our people on there. Or the Geekbox fan group on Facebook. Not fan group. Geekbox Facebook
the group.
Facebook group.
The Thunderdome.
Face group.
Oh, wait, that's comedy button.
You can go to that, which I think is just like groups.facebook.com/the Geekbox? That sounds right. Something like that.
Just find Ryan on there and he'll point you to the right direction.
Yeah.
Make Ryan work.
Type the Geekbox and you'll find it.
Yeah, forums.geekbox.net. That's our
No,
forums
I want
on
them
there.
to find Ryan.
Contact us at their contact form, or you can contact us at thecomicconspiracy@geekbox.net. Digital comics are available through digital.comicsconspiracy.biz. We're on there. You can go buy some comics from us, which is pretty cool.
Does Clone do next week or the week after?
No, end of the month.
End of the month.
Yeah.
A couple
End
weeks.
of the
Still got a
month.
couple weeks.
It's the first. You have like literally a whole month.
Yeah.
Why was I so
As long as
behind
you
on
get the
All-Star?
trade paperbacks by then.
They're in stock.
Oh, nice.
We got 'em?
How was I so behind on All Star?
Because All Star, we did it in the first week.
Yeah.
And then we talked about it in the last week, which only gave you
Yeah,
like.
but it was
2
only
and a
like
half,
a
3
3-week
weeks.
time
Yeah.
because of the way it.
So since we
worked out.
switched it up to we're going to talk about the book and then give you the new book, you now virtually get an actual
an extra
month.
Well,
week.
But this is a 5-week month, so
So we did this really brilliantly by doing the big book in the small couple of weeks, and we're doing the little small book in like a whole
the
month.
big one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Don't forget to listen to Geekbox, Good Job Brain, and the Comedy Button, which I always forget. And you can listen to Charlie on the Heroes and Villains podcast, which is going to be up later this week.
Well, I'm going to be recording it on Friday, so I don't know exactly how long it takes them to put it up after
Okay.
that, but it'll be soon.
And Jordan was on a couple episodes of that.
Yep.
Jess was on a couple episodes. These are guys from the Infinite
Yeah,
Long
Jess
Box.
did the Conan episode, and Jordan did the I think it was the Captain Marvel and the
What are you going to
General
do, Green
Zod.
Lantern?
Yes, I'm doing the Hal Jordan episode.
I got to listen to this because it sounds like such a great podcast. I know the guy from Heroes and Villains has talked to me a few times on Twitter and sent me messages, and I've got the name bookmarked on my computer. I just need to friggin' download some of the recent episodes. So make sure you guys go and do that. It sounds like a really great podcast. And yeah, Charlie, let me know when that goes up.
Yeah, I will.
And then we've all got random other crap besides the store. Brock's got his blog at conspiratobrock.com. Omar, who should be back next week, is at Comics and the Kind. And Charlie is on that Infinite Long Box podcast, which is infinitelongbox.com.
Infinite Long Box.
And
You took it from me!
and I think,
Yes, but you say it with more enthusiasm. He did
Yeah,
the,
but he
deep bear-
took it from
I took
me.
it from him for 40 minutes of hell.
and I think that's it.
the infinite long box.
Yay!
And I think that's it.
No Twitter handles?
Oh, yeah, I'm on Twitter, Ryan Higgins, Ryan, Brock Sager, Omar is Comics and Dead Kind, Toby is Toby XI, Charlie's Insanity and Chaos, Bryce is Larson Bryce. I think that's it. All right, go follow
Ryan
us on
Higgins
Twitter.
is Ryan Higgins, Ryan.
I'm Ryan Higgins, Ryan. Did I say that?
Nope.
We have nothing
That's
to
okay.
announce until Comic-Con, right?
No.
Like everyone else.
Comic Con is coming.
Sure, yeah. Comic-Con soon.
Yeah.
Go to Comic-Con.
Going to do my
go,
sequel of the
X-Files
zombie run.
reunion.
Go, really?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Oh, go find Toby. Go find Charlie at Comic-Con in a couple weeks.
We're gonna be running
Go-
from
Find them and
zombies.
take pictures with them.
Best time to find them is 3 o'clock in the morning on the streets of
Standing in
San
line.
Diego.
Well, no. Charlie is standing in line. Toby
we'll
is
see what
bumbling
happens this
around
year.
somewhere.
Toby's staggering to a bus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Toby's drunk somewhere, so getting out
But
of the party.
we need pictures of you guys with them. then
and
post them up on the
Omar's the
Facebook
one.
page.
Omar's the one in the Stormtrooper outfit with the girls hanging on him.
Yeah,
so,
but
there you go.
he's not coming this year.
Oh, he's not
No.
really.
No, he's
Yeah.
in Hawaii.
Yeah, something.
Oh, you know what? I didn't know that.
You know what would be
Yeah.
funny?
Memory of a gnat.
I only going to just be taking pictures of some stormtroopers like me and Omar. Me and Omar.
That's awesome.
Just tag him in every
yeah,
line.
yeah.
On the Infinite Long Box, because we're always doing stuff like going to the movie premieres and stuff, I'm like, I totally need to buy a cardboard standout of Jordan just so he can be at all the stuff for pictures.
Yeah, just because
Nice.
he's too far. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Just Adobe him in.
I'll be doing
Yeah,
a
but a
sequel run at the
cardboard
zombie
standee
run.
would be
But then
funny.
you got to carry him around.
So?
And then you have to buy him popcorn and get him a drink.
Okay, this
It's
is
like a date.
this is fun post podcast talk. So we'll see.
You
Guys.
better not edit this shit.